What's up, everyone? How you doing? It is Tuesday, and you know what that means? Because I sure don't. Let's see. What do we got today? I got a new hat. I have. Let's see. Can you see my? This is my new GitHub hat. I got this from. I recently got added as a GitHub star, which was very cool. If you're not familiar with the program, it's. Actually, you know what? I don't know how to describe it, so why don't I show the page instead, because that's probably the right way to do that. Let me get this one up here, maybe. And then we'll head over here. So this is the GitHub stars page. And it's kind of a, like, people who do notable work in the community, I guess. I as far as I can tell, it's let's see, most influential developers. Okay, I understand. Yeah, so basically, this was a cool thing for me to get. It feels cool. What's up, Michael? How you doing? Let me go back to this view here, and then we're gonna share a link real quick to everything that's going on. So let's see, we're live right now. That is this link here. So we're gonna go throw a note up on Blue Sky. And we'll throw one up in the Discord, which I should talk about in a second. There's the Discord. Actually bring these all together so that I can look at things in one place. That seems good. Let's do... Oh wait, this is the wrong place. It goes in the content feed. Try not to spam people with the notes unless they want them, so I try to only use a role. So I have a role called Video Alerts that you can subscribe to that I tag whenever I go live, and that is neat. So let's see, what's new? What's new with y'all? How's everybody doing? StreamYard still does not display Twitch sub messages. Why did somebody just sub? Let me see. Let me actually open this thing up. What do we got here? Oh, thanks, B-Dog. Thank you for the sub. 16 months, gosh, that's a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I have news today. I've got some news. So let's dig into that. So what's up, Urke? How you doing? Urke? Is that right? I don't. Okay. So long time of these shenanigans indeed. What's up, Nick? How you doing? Okay. So the big news is big enough that maybe I should try to retitle the stream. Is it going to let me do that? Let's see. Let's talk about the future of TV for developers and what the new name learn with Jason. I need to make like some actual notes here, but we'll make this work. And we can do one of these. We'll throw this up there. Okay. All right. So, yeah, launching big things. I know. 1 year of subbing on YouTube. Thank you so much. What's up, Giant? How you doing? All right, it is Tuesday. What's going on? Welcome in. Okay, so let's talk about the big news, right? So I've been working on What originally started as like the V2 site for Learn with Jason for what feels like months now. I think I started this, can actually figure it out. I did the original, let's pull the screen back up here. So I started the original version of the Learn with Jason site. Let's see, it was Learn with Jason, and we had V2. So first commit was when? How do I get to the very last ones without having to click through all these? Is there a way to do that? Who knows? We're going to go down here. That must be it. Okay. So I gave up on V2 in the mono repo in October of 24. So let's look at the mono repo and see if I can find the earliest commits on those. And it looks like I only did September 28th. So that's probably right. So I started this rebuild in around, it's got to be around September, and then I also started the redesign itself. Can you get history on this? Show version history. Where's the oldest version? Because I've been working on this for forever. Let's see. Looks like I had my first iteration of this on January 6th. So this was the original attempt at like a V2 of the Learn with Jason site. I was going for big color blocks. I wanted to have kind of a retro vibe. I thought this would be a good time. And then over time, let's get into, here's like July. And then in July, it had sort of iterated and become, you know, all of these different explorations. And I was still looking at this color block thing, and I was having some fun with that. And I still, I mean, I do really like this design, but I'm thinking I might adopt this for my personal site. But then I started looking at kind of what I wanted to do with the, why can't this zoom in? There we go. I wanted to think about like, Learn with Jason was becoming more than the stream, because the original version of Learn with Jason, and we can see this on the site, is it's about like the 90-minute stream that I do on Thursdays where I learn something new, right? And that had, it's built for that. It's purpose built for that. And I still like it for that. But I was outgrowing that, and I had Web Dev Challenge, and I was working on Leet Heat, and I had, you know, Web Lunch, which is now called something else, which I'm going to rename again because I'm still not happy with the way that one is named. And then we're working on some other ideas, right? And so all of that was starting to come in, and it didn't fit on this site. And so that kind of led me to start thinking about, what does this look like in the context of, you know, with all the programming I was making, what is Learn with Jason version 2? And so I started looking at sites that create multiple programs, and it brought me to things like, this is HBO Max, this is Peacock, this is NBC, Adult Swim, Apple TV, Hulu, Paramount Plus, Netflix, and this one is Crunchyroll. I was like, all right, what are they doing? And I noticed, you can kind of see as we scroll through there, there's a definite vibe here. Like, there's a UX that we've sort of settled on as a community, where this is how we navigate like sites that have lots of series. And so that led to me starting to think about Learn with Jason as this sort of thing, where we've got, you know, the banner for the series, we've got the episodes themselves, maybe there's, you know, upcoming episodes, who's in the episode, so on and so on and so on. And over time that has evolved. So I need to get all the way back to the current version here. And now, you know, we didn't quite land here in the final build, but as I started building this, I realized more and more that like Learn with Jason is something that makes it feel like it's very much about me. And that's not even true today. And I want it to be even less true as time goes on. As it stands today, I make most of what I make with help from the community. I think this stream, the Tuesday stream, is the only exception to that rule where I'm like the only person here, right? Everything else, I've got a guest, we've got the devs on, the cast, we've got advisors, there's always somebody else involved. And so to call it Learn with Jason felt a little just out of touch with what things have become, right? And then I started thinking about what's my actual mission here. And the tagline, the simplest thing wins, right? It's TV for developers. And that's what we do. We make TV for developers here. So looking at the fact that, I'm working with bigger crews, these productions are larger, there's cast, there's a lot going on that has nothing to do with me other than the fact that I'm the one started kind of running the projects. It needed to be something else. And so I looked around and I found out that CodeTV was a brand that has not been taken by anybody. And I really like it. It says what I wanted it to be. And so we started exploring CodeTV. So I'll give you a little rundown of what happened with CodeTV here, because I started working on an identity for it, and I'll show you where I started, right? So I've been trying to come up with a cool way to do this logo for a long time. And so I started here, kind of retro vibes, because apparently that's where my head's at these days. Played with a few more concepts like this, was looking at old MTV, was looking at this was, I think, influenced by the PBS logo. This was the old MTV logo, trying to think about how that would work. Tried to go really on the nose with kind of just a terminal font, and that felt too. I didn't want people to have to type something like this in a brand, so that felt too much. Then I kind of took this concept and tried to conceptualize it, and eventually landed over here, which felt pretty good. And then I started just kind of messing with it. So I turned this into a vector so that I could mess with the height and stuff like that. Because I think this is a font. This is called Jersey 25, and then I turned this. I kind of took the general structure of it and started messing with it to get the heights to where I wanted to make them a little more square as opposed to rectangles, and kind of bold out this TV as opposed to the kind of thinner TV going on there. And ultimately we landed on this here as kind of the mark. This one here where it's bolder. So this kind of ended up being the mark, and then I wanted to go further. So I like the CMYK offset, and you can see here, especially if I zoom in a little bit, that what I did was I kind of took the whole thing and did a CMYK offset where you can see that the yellow channel, the magenta channel, and the cyan channels have been shifted by 1 pixel, so that you get this sort of cool offset thing. And then when you zoom out, it still looks almost white, but you've got a little bit of color and highlights and things like that. And all of that then got me thinking about what does it look like in context. And so I went and looked for, this is an old CRT monitor, and I added some vignette on it, and we messed with the way that these things blend, and did a lot to try to make it feel a little more cohesive there. And then we end up with this, right? So this is kind of how the brand has evolved. This is my favicon, and we're kind of putting this out into all the places right now, right? So that is behind the launch of CodeTV.dev, which is here today. CRT color fringes are horizontal, not vertical. Oh, I got them wrong. Yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna live with it. Man, I want the CodeTV logo on a shirt too. I do want to. Why can't I just show this? There, show it. That I really like that. I like the orange. I'm excited about that. And thank you. CodeTV is gonna appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, it has been a solid year. We're a year into where I started thinking about this, and here we go. Doing well, Joey. Thank you for hanging out. How you doing? 2 days less than 13 months old is correct. Yes. So it's been a long time coming, right? And that's a whole thing. Why would this be conflicted with NBC Universal? Did I do something? Is this something that NBC does? Yeah, the pre-press routes are always a whole thing like that. That makes me very happy. Unless you mounted the CRT sideways, which does happen sometimes. Yes. I think I don't know. I think what this actually is in the banner is like scan line banding from like taking a photo at a shutter speed that's different than the refresh rate of the thing itself. But then check this out. So then I wanted to play, so I went to CodePen and I wanted to play with these glitch animations. So I was playing with a couple different ideas here, and I wanted the thing to shift. And so this one was my original idea, was to kind of have it slowly move, make it more subtle. But it didn't feel right. Whereas this glitchy one felt more right. So I ended up using the glitchy, and it's still, I think I tuned it down even more, but you can see up here that the glitch is happening, just kind of not very often. And at some point, I have the idea of trying to figure out how SVG filters work, and then putting some of the scan lines in here. Like I think I can do that with distortion. I think you can like add noise and add like a warp or something to get it to do some of that scan line stuff. I mean, I'm clearly not going to like block on that. But so, all that being said, now we have the live site, and what's exciting to me about this live site is that we have the series themselves lifted out. So you can go in, you can like click into one of the series, if I can click and not drag, and you get your episodes. So when you come in here, you can see one of the episodes. We click into the episode itself, and we have details, who was the sponsor, what's going on with this. We've got a link to whatever was linked in the show. We've got things like, here's Shruti's profile. These have to hit the database and do like a 3-hop query, so I do need to make profiles a little bit faster. What I've done in the meantime is I've just had them edge cache, so like once you've hit it once, it's really fast, but that first load is kind of a bear. But so then you can get to other episodes, things like that, and you may have just noticed that down here we have supporters. And so this is something that I have wanted to work on for a very long time. And you can see like here's VDog, here's Michael, Fada, a lot of folks are showing up in here. Robert Groves, Yehuda, Charles, thank you all so much for being part of this. And I did fix the problem with avatars. It should be possible to update those now. And what this means is now there is a way to directly support what we're doing. And so there's like what I've been doing, right? And so over the last year, I've been sort of ramping up production, trying to make things like Web Dev Challenge, trying to make things like Lead Heat, trying to make stuff like Web Lunch work, and just having a hard time of getting that to land the way that I want it to. And that's sort of the idea is I can't always find a way to make something that I think should exist corporately sponsorable. Web Lunch is a good example of this, because what I want to do with Web Lunch, the big vision, is let's go highlight tech communities that don't get a lot of attention. So what's going on in tech outside of Silicon Valley? What's going on in tech outside of the United States? Can we make a tech equivalent of Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown, where we go to a city, and while we're there, we're going to check out some of the stuff that makes the city cool, and we're going to meet people who are in the tech scene there, and just learn about it, right? So let's go to New Orleans and sit down with Angie Jones and Gant Laborde and talk about, what's Angie working on, what's the tech scene like, what's Gant doing in the React Native world, and with his he's always doing like mad scientist stuff with machine learning. Let's set up a meetup in that town and have people come and get some locals to teach us something that they're working on, and we'll be able to record those meetup talks as something completely separate from the show itself. But then we'll meet all the folks from the community at these meetups, and we get sort of a 3-act show like that. We've got our lunch with somebody. We've got our maybe a dinner with like 2 or 3 people from the community. Maybe we go sightseeing, and like we're in New Orleans, maybe we do, I don't know, like a haunted graveyard tour or whatever. But while we're there, we're also having a conversation with folks from the tech community. We see the meetup, see what folks are working on, and then we like learn a little bit about the place, we learn a little bit about the community, and we meet some of the folks who are making that community healthy, and we just repeat that. I feel like there's so much of that we could do, but that's not particularly sponsorable. Like, companies don't necessarily want to just put a logo on something, and we're not going to use their tool. So for them, it's a little tougher to justify the spend, right? So what I'm thinking of with CodeTV supporters is that anybody who gets involved and if you throw $5 or $20 or whatever per month at CodeTV, I'm going to directly put that money toward the shows that I can't get corporate sponsorship for. So if we want to make Parts Unknown for Tech, then we just, if we get enough support behind it, then I can go make that show. And, I'm also trying to get to the point where if I know somebody who is brilliant and has a great idea, can I just produce a show for them as opposed to me being the one in it? And, because there are a handful of people, like Leet Heat is mostly this. Like, I know Mark Texan is going to be the best game show host that I could find. So Leet Heat doesn't need to be me. It's Mark. Mark is the host. And I'm there as a producer and kind of, judge, as a judge if things get, I screw up a lot of questions, so we need somebody to blame it on, and that should be me. But when that happens, it's like, it's the Mark show and I'm supporting, right? And maybe there's something that happens in the future where, like, my friend Annie Sexton is extremely funny and has a lot of really good ideas, and I would love to be able to make those. And the way that it would work is it would work similar to something like Front End Masters or Egghead or Pluralsight or LinkedIn Learning, whatever, where I'm like the network, and I'll make the shows, I produce the shows, and then a percentage gets paid to me, and then a royalty gets paid to the person who created the show, so that we're able to all kind of keep the lights on and keep things operating. And I'm going to take a very Egghead style approach. Like, Joel at Egghead has been a big inspiration on this, because his monetary splits are very fair. They favor the creators better than 50%, and I think that's such a good way to approach this stuff, because it should be, you should get paid well to make something good, and what my goal is above everything else is to make more good stuff. And I know that I'm not going to be able to do that on my own. So trying to build a model where it's very financially appealing to somebody to come and be part of this, we all win for that, right? And so the idea behind creating this supporter tier is that it allows us to put some of that money into something that I might not be able to sell to a sponsor, but that we know would be good, right? So that's kind of the idea. That's why this exists. Tech Unknown is kind of on the that's Overflow X is actually amazing. I kind of wait, which overflows? Is that overflowing? Oh, it is. What is that? Ugh. What is that mess? We can definitely debug this site. Okay, who is the culprit here? 1460, it's my header. Why is my header oversized? It's 100 dvi. and that immediately fixes it. So why? I can just turn that off, yeah? Okay, I don't know why I did that, but let's fix it. Let's open up my header, which is in the default layout, and then we'll go to the header here. And we can just delete that, I think. So let's try that. Let me try. Whatever. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a source control over here because this is pretty excellent. So it shows me that I just deleted this one thing, so I'm going to add that, and we'll say fix header from causing horizontal scroll. Push that up, and then that is going to build. It should build nice and fast. I think I got this build to about 2.5, 3 minutes right now. Am I correct on that? Oh, nice. Charles is making pull requests. I appreciate that. Oh, nice. Fixing branding. Oh, this is great. Thank you for this, Charles. This is awesome. So we can just doing a little code review here. Just updating all these links. Good, good, good. This one I already fixed. Can I make this rebase? I mean, it might just work. Let's see. And then we're gonna got all those fixed. Yep, yep, yep. These all look great. I am gonna have to figure out how to make topics work because I did not fix this yet. That's okay though. We can maybe that's what we'll do today is see if we can get topics running on CodeTV. But let's. This all looks good. Okay, so we're gonna approve, and then we're going to squash and merge. Okay, and then I'll pull those changes. Okay. All right, and then let's check on our build here. So our deploy is rolling. Almost done. Thought the nav bar was a sentence? Oh. Well, how do we fix that? Like, does it need just more space, or like, what are you feeling? So I do think we could. It looks like it fixed the overflow problem there. I could probably just like overflow hidden because we don't need that kind of side to side scrolling thing. But let's mess with this for a second. So how do we make this better? We can take this and maybe we say maybe the gap is why aren't you cooperating? Is that just not Just gonna ignore me. Fine, we'll do it. We'll do it the hard way, I guess. So let's go to our nav. And we can set this to, call it 1.5. That's not what I wanted. What am I doing wrong here? There's my account. Here's the actual nav. And so these should that should do it. So that's more what we're after. Let's maybe drop that down just a bit, and then maybe we can take the font size down even a little bit more here. Removing the background for the container, do you think that'll work? I was worried that would make it look too weird, but let's try it. Take the box out. You think just rock it like that? It's still legible. Okay, so let's, yeah, maybe I'm overcomplicating it. Let's drop these out here. We'll get to the account one. We can do the same thing. And you think instead of saying manager profile, it should just say like profile or something? Or like that? Maybe even the name. Oh yeah, that could be interesting. Oh yeah, because I'm logged in as my test account. That could be okay. I don't hate this. Let's look at here. Maybe this gap can be even 0. Or it'll do nothing because it's out to befuddle me. Let's look at my header. Here's my div. Let's turn this down. And then you would need, that's not even sort of what I was after. Logo, nav toggle, nav group. Okay, so this is probably the one that I'm after. Okay, you might be able to go all the way away. What do y'all think? Does that feel too... Does that feel too tight like that? And then I can always shrink the logo a little bit. Let's take it down to maybe 40 and see how that feels. And I wish I could figure out why that's not working at all. Let's find a different... That's the 250. Because I want it to like have some heft, but it doesn't necessarily need to like dominate, right? So something like that maybe. Maybe it can be like 45 or so. Let's try the responsive version and see. I think that's okay. Tap area button should be 44 pixels minimum, which I think it is. Where's my actual... Hold up. Did your padding get turned off? What's going on? Because those are supposed to be like that, which should be 46. But these should be that same size, and I guess the question then becomes... Oh, it's not. Okay, so let's fix that because that was what I intended, but it's not what I'm doing. So let's get into this nav item. These should be block size 100%. Now are you big enough? Still not right. Why aren't you big enough? You should be display block size 100%. What's going on with our nav item here? So we've got our inline size. We don't have a block size. We do have padding, and that padding should probably be on the nav items and not on the nav itself. So let's try that. Okay, that was not exactly what we were after, but it's getting us closer. So here we want... Probably don't need much on the padding. Probably take this one to 0. We can probably cut this one down to like 0.5. So that makes for a pretty dang big tap target. Let's turn this down just a little bit, 0.75. That feels a little better. Still not quite big enough. Split the difference. Okay, so now we've got let's see, the smallest one I got, 60 by 46. Should be plenty big for tapping. And then our account is a little too small, so maybe we can fix that. Let's get at our header here and maybe mess with the padding and stuff just a bit on this. Okay, so we can pull that up just a tad, and I do kind of like that. I do think we need to make that account toggle just a tiny bit taller, tap area wise. So let's have it be maybe 0.25 up top on that one. That gets us to 38. Let's try 375. $42. Oh, so close. Let's go. We'll just go full 5 and see how that feels. Okay, and now all of this is tappable. So we have a huge tap area there. We've got nice big tap areas here. And I'm going to turn down, I think, the gap size just a little bit because we've got a decently sized. It's so annoying that that just isn't working right now. So let's turn this down. We'll revert this. And that feels okay. Yeah. All right. How do y'all feel about that? What's the consensus? Why is my website so fast? A large part of it is because I'm using Astro, and it's definitely set up to be minimal. Like, I tried not to turn on any JavaScript. I actually think this homepage, with the exception of the Algolia thing, and the Algolia overlay is not quite working. I've got a weird issue with the Algolia thing right now that I need to fix, but we're getting there. We're getting close. What theme am I going for? I mean, I'm ultimately going for usable at the moment. I have a feeling that I will probably end up working with a designer at some point to fix this for real. But at the moment, I'm pretty happy. I think my design chops are fine, and I'll live with them. But yeah, oh, good. All right, so Charles's avatar updated here. And so now we have... Oh, look, there's Brian. What's up, Brian? Okay, so we got a lot of good stuff going on here. This is great. So this feels good. This feels legible. I don't want to go any tighter on these because I think that would probably leave us in a... I don't know. Maybe we can mess with it a little bit. Do we have... Got in our header, and then we've got our aside up at the top there. And this is going to go away once I feel like the site isn't being weird anymore. And that'll buy us back some header space as well. But maybe I can just cut... Maybe I can cut the padding entirely off the top and bottom of this div, because I don't know that we really need it. So let me drop the top and bottom padding. We'll just go 0. Whoa. Okay. And if this looks wild, the reason it looks wild is because I set this up with a clipping mask. And the reason I wanted it to have a clipping mask is if you don't... This is kind of hard. Let's see, what's the easiest way to show this? So this is the like glass effect. And so you can kind of see how this works. As I scroll... Oh, crap. Not like an easy way to show this because it wants to zoom all the way. So watch how this line here, when it meets the bottom of this, you see how it starts dimming up already? And then it kind of appears behind. So in order to do that with a backdrop filter, you can't just like have a backdrop filter. I have a code pen about this, in fact. Why don't we go and look at it? So let me drop a couple links here because I've been sharing stuff and not actually linking to them. So in here, this is what the standard one looks like. And see how it kind of like pops in a weird way? I don't like that. I don't like how that works, and I don't want that to be how mine works. So I added this this clipping mask so that you get more of it's more graduated, and you kind of see the image coming before it makes contact. And you don't see that here. Like, you see how we're pretty close, and there's like no hint of the image, and then bam, right? So it's this sort of popping thing that happens. And the way that this works is you end up putting a clipping path over the top. So if we go and look at the actual source code, the header is this tall. So it's 100 pixels taller than the actual div that's operating the thing. And what that ends up meaning then is that when we're scrolling, we're now blurring these images in the backdrop. But because we're clipping, and we're clipping to this size, it doesn't show anything until it gets here, but that gives us a smooth glass effect, which behaves a little more like optical light would, where the light bends a little bit when it goes through glass. So you get a different, you can kind of see a thing coming before it is completely behind the glass due to the way that refraction and all that kind of stuff works. So that's how that's all going to function. Let's see. And yeah, like acrylic blur. It's kind of nice, right? There's a thing for fixing the blur stuff to be more like apples. Ooh, that'd be cool. I would dig that. But in the meantime, this little fix here is not bad. Like it's pretty usable, and I've enjoyed working with it. This is based on, I think it was the Linear team. I put a note in here. Jamie Gray, who I believe was on the Linear team, came up with this effect, and then Artur Bien shared it. So that's kind of where I learned about this, and then I went in and did some additional weirdness in here to make it more like what I wanted. Because a thing that they didn't do that was important to me is I also added just a little bit of blur at the top. And the reasoning for that is if I take that out, see, I broke that here, so it won't work anymore. So watch this. As you kind of start getting to the top, things sort of like snap there too, in ways that I didn't like. Whereas if we put this in, it sort of changes it's so subtle, but it changes the way that these things work just a little bit and gives you a cleaner sort of setup. But all of that is just stuff that you do. Let's see. Oh. Announce uppercase text as an abbreviation. Huh. That seems not great. So does that mean like anybody who uses anyone who uses like an all caps heading style would also, like, the headings would just get spelled out? Ooh, that seems rough. But we can fix that. I don't even know that I don't have strong feelings about those being capitalized, so we can undo that. Just turn it off entirely. It's probably fine, right? I think so. I think we can leave that be. And then what happens? What else? So we've got all the series listed out here, so you can see all the different series. You can get into the blog, and we got all the blog posts. So you can click all these, and this. Oh no, not quite right. Oh, I know why. It's because I calibrated it without this eyebrow. This is the problem with hard coding certain things, and like with the clipping mask, I had to hard code it a little bit. And then like position sticky stuff is hard too, because you want it to stick. Oops. Be like 8 rem, 9. So we want it to stick at like 9 rem. And that then gets us back to where we go. So let's fix that real quick. What is it, blog? TOC sticky container. That should fix that. good. Then we get into like the newsletter. Newsletter is doing its thing. The supporter, all that good stuff. This is a separate website, so we don't need to look at that one. And then there's, like we've got a simple kind of markdown style layout so that you can do things like a code of conduct. That's a link to another thing. That's a link to the newsletter. That's a link to another page. And that's a website, y'all. Like that's kind of where we're at right now. And then when you get into your dashboard, this is where you have an opportunity to become a supporter if you want. This is all powered through Stripe. You also have the ability to update your avatar and stuff. That runs through Clerk. So you're able to sort of control all of that however you want to. You also have the ability to update your bio and stuff. And let's see. I don't think I've fixed this. This should have, because that one shouldn't conflict with my other one. Then we can go back here. Oh, we're on the main site now, aren't we? Did that not work? Okay, so maybe got to figure out why the updating usernames didn't work. But here we can say this is my bio, and you can update that. And after it takes a second, this runs through a lot of different things. It has to go to Clerk, to Sanity, to Clerk, Sanity, Stripe. I think, oh, and then it makes a call to Netlify to like invalidate any caching for that profile page so that you get the new bio. And that's why it takes a few seconds. But then all of that works. You can go view your profile, and that one is broken because we didn't do the update. And look at it go, right? So that's kind of what we're after here. I do hope I didn't just break my... So I just... Oh, shoot. All right, well, we can fix that. Let's... what am I doing? I'm going into Sanity. And that's on, so we can go to localhost 3333. Then we can go find me. Figure out why I broke my setup there. Huh. That's not great that I did that. But that shouldn't happen for anybody else because I'm the only one who's got like multiple goofy accounts. What are you doing? There we go. Yeah. So then once this is, your profile after you've set thing like that. And then another thing that I want to do is get episodes featuring this person. And that way, if, somebody who's been part of it will be able to, like, Shruti, for example, has been in Learn with Jason and Leet Heat and Web Dev Challenge. And so being able to find everything that she's been a member of is, I think, pretty cool. I took that out. I had it working and then I took it out because it was very slow. Like very, very slow. Let's see. Probably maintain the all caps by using an ARIA label. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's fine. Oh yeah, it's actually not a bad idea. That's kind of fun. Okay. So this feels good. I'm feeling okay. Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. So now we've got, basically the site is, I think, pretty functional. And the way that we're running it is out here, we've got the content, and you can see each of the series gets listed here. And then when you go into a given series, You can go through the different seasons. So like in the case of Learn with Jason, I've split up the seasons by years. So the show started in 2018. We're now into 2025. So then you come in and you can see the details of the this season, and then we can go into one of the episodes. And on the episode, we have like a toggle to hide it if we want it, like if it gets rescheduled or we are something needs to be updated, whatever it is. Then we set title, publish date, who's in it. These are linked to accounts like these, where this is the same profile account that that everybody has. So like in Glauber's case, he's not signed up for the CodeTV site, so we've created an account for him. I am gonna have to figure out how that works, because right now there's not like a account merging thing. So when somebody signs up who has been on a show before, I'm gonna have to manually merge their accounts, which is gonna be fine, I think, because there's only a few hundred of those, and it'll sort of be like in a case by case basis. And the thing that makes the difference, if I go back here, is we just link it up by the clerk ID. So if I grab their clerk ID once they sign up and hook it to this user, then it will do the whole thing, right? So that's how all of that works. And then once you're out here in your profile, why don't we push these changes that I made? So we've got our tweaks on styles, so we'll get push that, and then while that's building, on the profile itself, once we get in here, we have the ability to set up a thingy, so we can click on one of these, and this will give you your cost, all that kind of stuff. This all works, and it's hooked up through Link, but you can also do it with a credit card directly if you want. And then once you have made that purchase, then you get actually I can just do it. So I make the purchase, and then it takes, so this is the one thing that I need to figure out here, is we make the purchase, and then it's going to redirect back to the dashboard, and nothing has changed yet, because this has to go through all of the ingest stuff, right? And the way that I know the ingest stuff is done is that in here, I have automation. So like this shows me what's going on with all this stuff. And so now all of the automations have run, and it just showed that I've created a new account, right? So then if I refresh the page out here, it now shows that I'm a silver tier supporter. It takes away the become a supporter like banner thing. And what I should do, actually, what I will do is show early access apps on dashboard for supporters. And that way, anybody who wants to go check what's available to them, they'll be able to do that. So then once we're done, if we want to say like this isn't, I didn't actually want to do this, I can cancel my subscription. And then after I've done the cancel, I go back, and now it'll show me that it's canceled, but I keep my perks until basically I paid for a month. So I keep the perks until March 4th. And then if I, on my side, decide that I'm going to like hard cancel it, I can choose to do the refund or whatever. So if somebody needed that, I can always just refund it. But by default, it's, you pay for a month, you keep the month. And then when you cancel, you keep your privileges until your renewal date. So that's how all of that works. That's kind of how it's set up to function. And then again, if you want to update your avatar username, et cetera, that's all run through Clerk. So I tried, I'm trying to do my best to make this easy. This little bit of UI needs some work. Like, we don't have drag and drop to reorder or anything like that. That's probably a fun project for another day. But it's doing the thing, right? So feeling pretty good about this. It all kind of functions. Strange to hear me at 1x speed. I do think that is an interesting thing for me too, because there's a lot of folks that I listen to like only at 2 or 2.5x. So it's weird when I hear him talk. I'm like, why are you talking so slow? But that's the big announcement that I wanted to make. So the other thing that I wanted to do, and something that's kind of fun, is I was going to switch over the branding. So we can change the icon, and then I've got a CodeTV avatar here, so we can do that. And we've already got this at CodeTV. And these I updated a little while ago. So I can save the changes. And there we go. We're CodeTV now. That's exciting. That makes me happy. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, and so being able to get it like fully done. And granted, there's a lot that's not done, but like we can work on it. We can make some changes. But okay, so let's see if we can get topics running, because this was something that I didn't do. It's also like not particularly easy to even find these. Ooh, I don't know if we can find them anymore, so this will be a whole thing. But like if we go to Learn with Jason, topic, and CSS, I have a filter here that pulls any episode that is tagged with CSS. Hold, please, because I may have made this impossible to function. We don't have topics anymore. We turned those off in the new thing. Let me do a quick poll here. Actually, why don't we just look at the dang analytics? Because I don't think anybody uses these. Let's go last year and let's look at topic. In the last 365 days, we've had 100 visits to topic pages. Let's see, Google finds them a little bit. I kind of feel like that's just not enough to make it worth because it's not a small amount of effort to categorize these things. And I wonder if just moving them to this Algolia search is a better move. Does anybody have strong feelings about this? I know. I that's why I did the announcement yesterday and then didn't make the change right away, as I wanted people to get a chance to see before they would then the icon would disappear. Should I do this one? Let's try it. Oh wait, I wasn't showing you my screen. Should I use this version? Let's see how it looks. I'm worried that one isn't clear enough. I wonder if this one's going to be legible. That's more legible. Any strong feelings on that? Because this one feels like it makes more, like you know what it is. It's not just a thing that says TV. Yeah, don't visit the site often to search, just watch live. I think that's kind of the point. Algolia is definitely easier if you already have it integrated. Algolia search is better. Yeah, I think I'm gonna let it be because it doesn't feel like it's getting a ton of like action here. But what I can do to make this function is I can put together a search page, and that search page can embed the search component. So and then we can redirect the topic pages there. So let's do search.astro, and that's going to have one of these. And then down here, we're going to need the layout, and we'll say like search CodeTV, and the description, search the catalog, CodeTV content, including learn JSON, web dev challenge, heat, and more. Okay, and then that's going to come from layouts and default. I think should be fine, and then we can set up the search itself is going to come from in here. And I believe the way that this is done right now is it's all behind the open button, but I'm pretty certain I can just drop this autocomplete straight in. Oh, I hate that this is... It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. Export function search. How about this? Let's take this out. And we'll say... Oh no, this is going to be awful. Where's the search state used? On toggle. So these I can just remove. That's fine. Okay, so we can do this. We'll do export function. I'm just going to call it search box because that's what it looks like to me. And that is going to get a prop. And that prop is going to be open, which is going to be a Boolean. Oh, right, because you can't just do it like that. You have to do it like this. Then we can return all of this. And in here, just going to set these to be open. And I don't even need an on toggle. So you're going to be this. And this, I guess, is going to have to come in on its own. And that can be optional. So we'll do an on toggle. And that's going to be a function. Yes, okay. So then you go here. So now what we're doing is I'm just extracting this search box to be its own thing so that I can show it on a page without having to do all of the stuff. And then just going to drop all of these because we're not using it, and it's in source control, and I can get to it later. What are you mad about? Query does not exist in type legacy search query. I'm going to ignore that because it is not causing problems as far as I can tell, and I don't want to deal with it. So we're going to collapse our button, and this then is going to become a search box, and that needs an open, which is going to be search state equals open, and then it's going to need an on toggle, which is going to be you, and that's going to be the end of that. And then I can take all of this, get rid of it, and then theoretically speaking, and we'll validate this very shortly, theoretically speaking, I should be able to, first and foremost, just come back out to my running site, which is, I think, not currently running, so we'll start it again. Actually, I'm just going to go to the home page. We don't need to be... Okay, so then this works. We'll do one of these. Okay, so that's all functioning as expected. So now if I go into my search page and I say, give me the search box, and I want that to come out of there. There it is. Then what we can do from there is open is going to be true, and I don't need... And I think we can just client only this. And this is an Astro thing saying, like, don't even bother trying to server render this. Just put it on the client. And so then if that worked, I should be able to go to search, and it just opens this up. Perfect. So that's what I wanted. That's gonna give me what I need. I'm gonna live with the fact that it's a little bit janky, because that's fine. Like, oh, you know what we need though is on this one. It'll be like on toggle. We would need to like go to window.navigate. Navigator. How do I, or no, it's just window.location. Window.location equals. Can I not set this? String and okay, let's just read the docs. Window.location and assign. So we'll just assign then. Okay, so now what should happen is when I'm in here, we're here, and if I click this, it should take me to the home page. And it sure didn't. Did I get a console error at least? On toggle is not a function. But it is though. On toggle is not a function. Let's see. Not using Tailwind. Let's see. Probably use search page with filters applied. Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah, the LinkedIn Live thing, it's like a button I can check, and I don't know exactly how all of that works, but yeah, I don't know. Let's see, what's up, Anonymous? How you doing? CodeTV is the brand new like brand for what I've been doing under the name Learn with Jason for the last 5-ish years and full time since the end of 2022. What's up, Ryan? How you doing? Let's see. All right, y'all. So okay, we are trying to figure out why the heck this on toggle isn't working. Brand new brand. That's right. Just chilling, just chilling. React form for work, cool. This is recorded in the sense that you will be able to watch the replay on YouTube whenever you want. And that is, let's see. We are at. Oh, you know what I need to do too is probably fix this. I'm gonna change the name of Learn with Jason. Also, this is gonna be hard because it's gonna break all the things. But for now, you can go here on the live, and you'll be able to find, like, this is the one we're doing now, and then this is like past episodes. Like, this is Learn with Jason. We just had Zach, who is one of the people creating and maintaining RS Pack and RS Build and a bunch of other cool stuff. Should probably start titling these with like what they are, but I don't know. I never claimed to be good at the internet. So all right. So let's see. Let's see if we can get this toggle working. Figure out why what I'm doing isn't working, because that should be our on toggle. So let's go back to our index, and we've got on our search box on toggle, and on toggle should be a function, which we should then be able to call. Do we just need to like default this to be a function like that? Is not a function. On click, close modal, on toggle is not a function. Am I missing something here? On toggle. That should be a function. Is it reloading my code? Like, okay, so it is reloading the code. Let's have it. Maybe we can just do it this way. If type of on toggle equals function, we want to actually just call it. An argument for this arg? Can I just pass it nothing? That work? That'll be weird. Okay, but is this being called at all? So let's console log. Okay, so that is being called. Let's put our on toggle in here and see what we're getting. And we're getting null. How? So here's our search down here. We're sending in an on toggle. What is happening? Is this an Astro thing? should have stuck to pre-press. Yeah, probably. So I could have a separate channel. So the problem, basically, where I'm trying to toe the line here is like I have never been good at keeping multiple channels going, and so there was originally a discussion about should I create a web dev challenge channel and should I create Elite Heat channel and should I create a Learn with Jason channel, and I just landed on like I'm not gonna do that. Like I feel like I struggle enough with just the one channel to keep updated, and so just splitting that focus just seems like it's a doomed effort. So just doing the rename, I'm gonna go through the pain of having some links break and do my best there, but yeah, it's just sort of a whole thing. And yeah, the subscriber count thing, like subs don't matter on YouTube from a strict algorithmic standpoint, but they very much matter from a sponsorship standpoint, and so walking away from that would be a problem. Is it being passed to the component is just such a fabulous question. Let's see if I can. What if I pass it something else? What if I just make this into a string, like literally into a string? I think Astro is helping. And so what I think I'm going to do is, instead of worrying about this, because it's my code and I can make it bad if I want to, I am going to make this the default of on toggle. So if you don't send in an on toggle, the default action is that when you toggle, it will redirect to the home page. Fine. That is fine. Do I love it? No. Does it work? Yes. Am I intending to do anything else with this Algolia plugin? I am not. So we're going to be okay. So that way, what we can do then is we can just make sure that when you try to go to a topic page, it's going to do this. Can I... Oh, it is going. Okay, I thought for a hot second that was like not doing anything. Why is that so slow though? Okay, so that's working. So we could definitely do like a pre-seeded like search for whatever the topic is to get some results there. I got to figure out why these images aren't showing up, but that is feeling okay. So I have my hunch. Here's my hunch. I think that when Astro gets props, it does some kind of like help or serialization. And I believe that what it's doing... Let me see if I can just find React in here somewhere. Component props. Scripts and event handling. Does it do anything? Elements rendered by a UI framework may not be available yet when a script tag executes. If your script also needs to handle UI framework components, using a custom element is recommended. let's look into... Doesn't look like there's anything about what would go wrong here. So it's so children get turned into a string. That's a whole thing. Astro streams the output of React components by default. You can disable this. That's fine. I don't know. They don't have any notes about it, but I have a hunch that something is happening with the, like, putting JavaScript into a prop in Astro is causing that JavaScript to be compiled away, which is why it showed up as null. Because when we stringified it, it got passed through. It just was incorrect. And so we could have done something silly and like evaled it or whatever, but it's just easier to put it in the React component directly and see what happens there. But that's my hunch. Let's see. Astro images. You know, Astro images are also kind of a thing. I'll show you what I did. Is I ended up using, where's something that'll have it? So I ended up using the unpick thing. And unpick is built and maintained by Matt Kane, who's on the Astro core team. So it's effectively like a core maintained part of Astro. But what it does that I really like is it lives in, it works with CDN. So I use Cloudinary for everything. Been on Cloudinary for a very long time. And that means that I've been able to use my existing Cloudinary workflow, which, you know, this is how I do thumbnails and stuff like that for my front matter. But then also, when we're setting up, for example, the thumbnail of the video, this is using the unpick, which then uses the Cloudinary URL, and I set, you know, my source and my alt. And on this one, we can go look at one that's not ready yet. So let me go here and the Globber one. Oh wait, this one has one. Dang, I don't know if I have any that are like pre-release. So anyways, let's actually, one of these will be. So this is how unpick works. Is it generates all of this stuff. So we get our sizes, we get the blurred thing, and then we also get Cloudinary source set. So it uses my existing Cloudinary account and then generates the right width and height attributes so that we get the right, like, 340 width, 640 width, 680 width, et cetera, so that this renders progressively and like is shown on the only the largest size needed by the current viewport, as opposed to like the largest size available, which is like an image tag by default, you know? It's really good. You don't have to use Cloudinary with it, by the way. You can use, yeah, you can use all sorts of stuff, but let's see. Where's the list of services? It works with image providers. So all of these, Cloudflare Images, Cloudinary, Contentful, it'll pull out of Shopify, or like it uses the Vercel and the Netlify ones. It uses Imagix if you use that. So it's really slick in that way, where it's kind of built to use whatever system you're already using. It will recognize that and then just take advantage of what you already have. And if you don't already have one, then it falls back to the Astro image service in Astro. So it's slick. It's really slick. I have enjoyed it very much. So let me send a link to this. The import aliasing would be pretty slick. I wonder if you can. It definitely might be possible. I don't know if they have any plugins for that sort of thing. Oh, the list was here the whole time. So I know, like, I know how I would do it if I needed to build it, but because you could build, what you could do is you could build a Markdown plugin that would do it, and because they have a lit component, so you could use the custom element and use the Markdown transformer to basically stick this in there, and but it would require probably getting into like the ASTs and. Like it's definitely possible. It's just not maybe something that you would want to do, but it'd be pretty dang cool if you, yeah, not unless you get into the MDX AST, exactly. Which I've done, and it is, once you get started, it's kind of fun. I really like ASTs. They make me feel like a wizard. But ain't nobody got time for that. Is true. Was the search component being rendered in an Astro component? It was. It was being rendered, so needs to be rendered inside a React component, but it is a React component. So you're saying like it would need like a wrapper around it in order to function? I'm gonna let it lie. Not because I don't believe you, but because I would rather get the redirect to autofilter. So what I'm gonna do is, let's see if we can, okay, so let me focus up here. I want to get in here and I want to figure out, can we get the query string to drive autocomplete? And if we can, does it have built-in query strings? Or is it something else? So we're going to start by just looking at the Algolia autocomplete query params and see if that works. Query suggestions UI. No. Populating autocomplete with sources. Do we get... Don't want static. I want templates. Header and footer, whatever, that's fine. Dynamic sources. That's our index name. Feels like the sort of thing that would work if I can figure out what they're looking for. Let's see what the query sends back. So on an empty query, get item URL. Sources. Does that drop anything immediately, or is that like a later thing? And it's just straight up the string that's being typed in. Okay, that's not what I want. So what else is in here? Is there anything in... Okay, so we get state, we get navigator. Okay, okay. This could be interesting. Set query, set context. Query. But can I empty query? Default active. There's going to be a thing that allows this to do what I want, and I just need to figure out what it is. Use autocomplete. If there is no query, okay, so how do I start it with a default query? Because if I can do that, then I can just feed it a query. Getting started. Let's maybe just look and see if there's like a default kind of hello world here. Yeah, we got the theme, we got that. That's fine. Container placeholder get sources. So we start with our query. But I want the default. So autocomplete showcase, basic configuration. On state change, open on phone. Okay, yeah. None of this is where I'm after. Populating autocomplete with sources, but what I need is not, I need like a default query. Can I build a default query? Multiple search states, redirecting searches to a URL. This is going to be after we do the thing. Okay, that's fine. Basic configuration options, displaying items with templates, controlling behavior with state, perhaps. initial state. Hey, this is exactly what we needed. All right. So initial state, and then we can get the URL, window location, search params, get. Oh yeah. Okay. This is gonna do it. So we're gonna get right in here, and we are going to initial state. And do query. Why don't I just copy this outright, and we're gonna make it one of these. Just do a 2-string. How about that? How about you hush up your face? And so then theoretically speaking, this would mean that needs to be a Q, not an S. Look at it go. No results for CSS though. I don't believe that. So why didn't that work? That did work. Okay, that's kind of cool. So then what we can do, theoretically speaking, is when we hit a... So we got to do this on the Learn with JSON side. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to open up redirects. And we are going to attempt, out of these millions and millions of redirects, we are going to attempt to catch our topics. And the way that this works on the current site, I had it open here somewhere, is it goes to /topic/something. And we're going to HTTPS. We're going to go to CodeTV.dev/search. And then query equals topic. And that is going to be a 301. We're going to force it. So if I am correct, once we do this, that should take whatever the topic is and redirect to a search that is automatically queued up for that given topic. And we're going to do that. Then we're going to come back over here and we are going to stop this. We're going to git add everything. We are going to git commit and say add a dedicated search page. And we'll push. Okay, now those are going to race. And this is the one I already merged, right? Yeah, that's already merged, so I don't need to build these. So we'll let that rock. And while we're letting that rock, we've got the updated header. It looks a little nicer. Pretty okay with that. And do I need a decode URI component? Probably. Actually, does it... That's a good question because I don't know if it runs that for you. So when you get the search params, we have the ability to get, which is what we're doing. Does this... Does that run a decode URI component? What a fabulous question. The fact that they're not showing us doing it has me wondering if we need to. Does it get encoded and decoded? I don't know. Let's try. Let's just try it. We can. URL, and we'll make it this one. No? Okay, fine. We'll do CodeTV.dev. Right, and then we can do a URL, search params, set. Nope. And we're gonna set test value, and let's put something weird in there. So we'll put in a full sentence. Then we'll URL search params get test, and we get back a full sentence. URL to string. Looks like it's doing it for us. How is our build is going? Let's look at the other one. Getting close. It'll be nice to be able to slim this site down. I think what I'm going to do is probably turn this one into more of a landing page. Because like Learn with Jason won't go away. But I think it'll probably be like the episodes will link through to the CodeTV site. The schedule will link through to the CodeTV site. The blog is just CodeTV now. Newsletter is CodeTV. And then the store is actually down. I just didn't remove the link because I felt weird about like not even having it listed, but you can't buy anything from it right now because I don't have fulfillment because my fulfillment company fired me because I didn't do enough volume, which is really, really just too bad. But you know, maybe now we can get some merch for like. There's a new Web Dev Challenge logo. There's a lot of stuff going on that should make it possible for us to do more merch, and that would be very exciting. I would be very excited to put merch back up because I love merch. Which brings me all back to the like. I'm almost certainly here relatively soon going to be opening up a job description. It's going to be in person. It's going to be in Portland, and it's going to be for somebody who probably is like an engineer that wants to be a content creator and is down to help me do a bunch of content creator stuff to sort of learn how it works. I suspect it's going to be one of those jobs that somebody keeps for like 18 months before they go off and do their own thing. Sort of like like an apprenticeship sort of thing. Like you're going to come in, you're going to help me, and then you're going to outgrow it and you're going to go do something else. And then, you know, we'll bring somebody else in. But I want it to be in Portland because part of it would be like, you can help me with fulfillment on the store, stuff like that. I think Relo is on the table. I don't know exactly what that would mean. I got to talk through it with my accountant and stuff, but it's certainly on the table. But yeah, let's see. I mean, there's so many more corgi ducks. I just need to get them. I need a way to do fulfillment, basically. Most Learn with Jason stuff will be redirected to the new site, and I think what I want is for this to be kind of a landing page about what Learn with Jason the show is, the 90-minute pair programming show, and it'll have the latest episode and the next episode, and when you click these, it'll go through to CodeTV. These are going to go away because this was like early on. I had this plan of doing everything as like either learn, build, or grow, but then we started doing more series as opposed to like categories of content, and so that was a whole thing. But we're almost there. We're almost there. How's this? That one's done. Let's look at the other one. That one's done. Wait, are we on CodeTV? Yep, that one's done. All right, so let's try this. We're gonna go here. We're at topic CSS. So if this works, I'm going to hit enter. It is going to redirect from here to the CodeTV site on the search page with CSS pre-populated. Let's give it a shot. Oh, I love it when a plan works on the first try. So that is dope. That is really cool that just worked, and that makes me super happy. Cool. Okay, well, that fixes a big problem that I was worried about, was like how to manage the topics. With that, give me a quick second. I'm gonna use the restroom, take a break. We'll be back in like 2 minutes. So just, sit tight. We'll see you in a second. Okay. Not fast enough, Vinny. Nowhere yet, Fada. I will have more information when that is possible. No, nothing was print on demand. So my curse, I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel very strongly about how things get made, and I would be happy to be proven wrong, but I have yet to find a print on demand company that does things at the level of quality that I want them done. Which is it's like a limitation of how this stuff works. Like, I want t-shirts to be silk screened. I want, when I get posters, which I haven't forgotten to all of you who were like part of hackathons, and I said I was going to send you posters. I have them all. They're done printing. Now I have to do pack and ship, which is another reason why I desperately need help, because that'd be another thing that I would be asking for help for whoever joined. But I really like things to be made by a person. I like to work with real artists. I like to, I want to work with artists. I want to work with people who make things on like a silk screen printing press. Like, I don't necessarily want the thing where you slap a t-shirt into a machine and it prints out like a laser printer. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I want, right? And because of that, just about everything I do ends up being something that has a reasonably high minimum. And maybe I should just get over it, but I think it feels nice to know the sort of chain of custody of, I got this shirt from this company that I like, and then that shirt went to this printer that I know. I got a design that either I made or I hired an artist to make, and then that gets, somebody makes the silkscreen by hand, and then they run the printing press by hand, and we get a box of t-shirts, right? That to me feels very good. Like, I really like that. As opposed to, like, I uploaded a design to a faceless portal and probably no humans were involved in the process. A shirt just sort of spits out of one machine and into another machine that prints the thing at like a reasonably low quality and then ships it out to somebody, and after they've washed it 3 times, the design is washed out of the shirt. That's just a bummer to me, you know. Um, let's see. 3D printing the shirt. that would be kind of wild. Um, I don't know anything about Fourth Wall. Let's look at it. Let's see. So quality custom. Okay, I like custom. But are they good? That's always my major worry, is that it's not good. Keycaps, that's interesting. Crowdfunding with pre-orders is really interesting. I want to see. I like the Yupung stuff. Bella Canvas is fine. High quality matte poster, that's kind of cool. Who makes these? Knitwise? Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe I just need to try like some of these. Just do some one-off orders for myself and see how they feel. Because my experience has not. I have not been super impressed by things like custom ink. It when you get it, it feels like something that you bought at a super low price through a discount, like on-demand printer. These look nicer, but that could just be that their photography is better, right? There's always that. These are always cool. I don't really like these ones. Mugs. I do like a mug. I don't know. We could see. We could see how it goes. Zazzle. Don't know Zazzle. Let's look at that one too. All right. I didn't realize I was going to end up with homework today, y'all. Let's see. We'll mark that one for some more look. Look at that one. I kind of just want to see. Yeah, I'll peek at these. Cotton Bureau is pretty cool, but I think Cotton Bureau has a whole other thing. Like I thought how it works. I thought there was something about like you have to get approved. So this is a little more like you can make a t-shirt, but you have to make the t-shirt through Cotton Bureau, and they have to approve the design and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, maybe they've changed. Yeah, like only the best. Yeah, so this is a little more curated, which is good. I do like that. Yeah, so this, I feel like this one's almost like geared toward, if you're an artist and you want people to buy your stuff, this is a way to outsource the production of it, and then they kind of make that work. So I do really like this though. Like I've gotten some great stuff through Cotton Bureau, and I do enjoy that for sure. Let's see. Knitting machines? Oh man, that'd be so cool. Hold on. What on earth? Oh, this is the sort of thing that is gonna, this is a rabbit hole that I can't afford to fall down. A sweater machine? What is this? Oh, this is an old one. Whoa. Okay, well, this is going to be. I'm going to find a subreddit that just has videos of these, and that's going to be how I spend my afternoon. Let's see. Ending up with homework is good problems. That is very true. That is very true. The shortcut that I was just using is if you hit Command D, it moves it into this section. And the difference is that in this section, things don't auto close. In this section, anything here after 24 hours will disappear. So it's just a good way, like if you want to review something later, you can kind of toggle it into the keep it, or that's like if I haven't looked at this by tomorrow, I'm never going to look at it. One of the things I love about Arc, and yes, you can also drag it, so you can just like move stuff, and that'll keep it in the thing. Let's see what else we got here. And Datadog swag t-shirts. I don't think I've ever seen those. Yeah, you know, that's actually fair because I got the Curly Boys shirt, which is which is from here, right? This is Brad Garapi, I think, was watching the stream when Cassie Evans was on and turned this into a thing. And so like I got the Night Owl version of this one. Actually, I might have just gotten the midweight. In fact, I think this is the one I got, and it's honestly been just fine. I've enjoyed it quite a bit, in fact, and so I do think there's like value here, right? Like there's something good to be said about these sorts of things. They're just, that one's probably not exactly what I'm after because the other thing is I have 750 corgi ducks that somebody needs to do fulfillment on, or I can't sell them because as anybody who's ever waited for me to ship something out knows, it doesn't happen very fast. I'm very slow. Am I planning on sticking with it till it's fully dead? I mean, I am choosing to believe the Arc team that they're not going to let it like rot. My hunch is that we won't get new features, but to be completely honest, I don't consider Arc as something that needs new features. I kind of like how it works now. So as long as they keep pulling in things from Chrome or Chromium specifically, I'm happy. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't need them to put more stuff into the browser. I just want them to keep adding the new CSS and like browser standard features. Because what it does is exactly what I want. Like the ability to have these separate setups and being able to build my little tabs and all that stuff. That's really all I need. It's kind of all I want. So yeah, I'm gonna ride it till the wheels fall off personally. There might be something that comes out better that makes me change my mind, because I would have told you, I mean, for years I would have said I was only on Firefox, and then Firefox got just absolutely lapped by other browsers, and so I was on Chrome for a while, and then Chrome turned into a memory hog, and I couldn't get it to run without like my computer sounding like it was going to hover off the desk. So then I switched to Edge of all things, because Edge went Chromium, and Edge was really good. Like there was nothing I didn't like about it. And then Arc just had a feature set that was more than Edge offered. So I've been on Arc ever since. And if somebody brings me a more compelling argument, I'll switch again. I'm no loyalist. I don't care. Web Dev Challenge in Python. We have at least one episode where somebody's writing in Python. In the first episode of Web Dev Challenge, Lizzie Siegel built her app in Python. Did we have a second one? Can't remember if we had one more. I know because we've had people use Java. We've had people use, had somebody use Bash. Sarah goes by Bad Cop, built her whole app in Bash, which was incredible. People use whatever they prefer, and I do try to source from like across the industry, and not just like people who work in React or just people who work in JavaScript. I think it's interesting to see how people build in every language, and so that is something that I'm working on, is trying to source more broadly. If there's somebody you want to see on the show, please do let me know. A couple folks that I'm like in the Python community, I'm trying to get Jay Miller to come on because he's funny as hell, and I think he'd do a great job. But yeah, you know, lots of good stuff. Let's see. When you say the like just the unedited 8 hours of footage, like I don't know that that'll happen, to be completely honest. Because like extended cuts maybe, but it's just not super interesting to watch the full length video, and it's a ton of data to host, so I think it would be pretty hard. Oh, the easels. You know, I couldn't get into the easels. It really didn't click for me. Maybe if I was doing more collaboration stuff and everybody I worked with was on Arc, it would stick a little more. But like anytime I found myself wanting to work on an easel, it was easier for me to like reach for a Fig Jam or something similar. Still Firefox ride or die. I want to be. I really do like the idea of a non-Chromium browser, but I just it's hard because like Safari and Firefox are kind of lagging a little bit. Firefox is definitely doing better than Safari though, so I can't talk too much crap. Yeah, I would agree. Like Arc is very sticky. Coded React JS in assembly. Oh, I saw that video. Yeah. Yeah, Lawrence did the whole thing in Java. That was really cool. Like I didn't know you could do all of that. The 3 DVD extras reel, sure. Yeah. Yeah. What was it? It was God, it was probably three plus years ago that that Cassie introduced the world to curly boys. Thank you, TypeScript Tea Time. Let's see. What's next? What do we want to do? So where are we at right now? We have. I mean, let's actually. I think I've got a README going here with. So we have. I didn't even write down the topics part. So the topics are fixed. That's good. The RSS feed per series, that would be a good one to set up. I need to swap out my data set. That's going to have to happen offline because I need to like email the Sanity team and ask them some questions. So this is partially done, but my crawler is being weird. And I can't figure out, I think my Algolia account is in a weird state. Because when I try to operate my crawler, I think I did it with this one. No, did it with this one? No, I did it with just straight up email. Come on. Yeah, that seems right. Okay. So got the CodeTV crawler, and then it shows that it's blocked, and I cannot figure out for the life of me why. And it's doing something that I don't think, like an unknown error is not something I think I can control, and I don't know what that means either. So it's like something weird is happening, and I don't know if it's my code or if it's something else. But whenever I run this button, it just explodes. And I don't quite understand how or why. And so I have a question open with the Algolia team that they responded to about 20 minutes ago. Cool. Okay. They're working on it now. So we'll figure out what's going on there. And once that's done, then this piece will be functional. And then I need to go through and figure out why it's not showing the right details, because it's currently missing. I mean, really, I just need to get through and look at the URLs, but I don't have any URLs yet because it's not crawling. So once there's a handful of things I need to do there. So let's actually add a note. Figure out how to get Algolia images to display correctly, because I'm missing. Right now, it's doing duplicates. Like when I go out to the site and search, and I say, uh-oh. Ah, crap, we broke it. Oh, I think I know what happened. Hold on. Let me restart it. We're going to npm run dev. And I think, yes, okay. So what I did was when I changed the autocomplete thing to work with our initial state, we didn't account for no query string. There we go. Okay, so that's fine. That's an easy fix. All right, so that'll fix that, and then we'll be able to function there. But when I search, we're getting the default Open Graph image. And so I think that is incorrect, not because of me. Let's double check. So it should be using the image from Open Graph, and that Open Graph image should be this one, right? So for elite heat, that should be what shows up. Then when we get in here, we look at one of these, it should be that image. Ah, okay, I've broken my blog. The blog needs to have its images shown up. So let's get into the blog. And the blog accepts it's got front matter, but it is not pulling in an image, which it should, because that image should be there under share image. So under our content, we can open up, sure, share title text. Okay, that's fine. I didn't create one for that, but let's look at one of the later ones, like the web dev challenge ones. Share.image. And so that image should be there. So we're missing that somehow. And the way that we're missing that is we are not OG image. Okay, so let's just console log some stuff here. Console log OG image. And that should show up down here. And it does, which is not ideal. So what the heck is going on there? OG image. Not hard coded. And so, what is this? is my content collections, and then out here we have our blog, which gets our layout. Get our blog.data, that's the front matter. We get our headings, and somehow this is missing slot head tags. Oh, I freaking named this wrong. Wow, that's going to solve a lot of problems really fast. Oh my goodness. Look at me go. What a doofus. All right, so that was an easy fix. Because now, when we look in here, it's the right thing. Okay, so dork. Okay, let's get into our source control. We've got this, which we don't need that part anymore. Get the name right. Okay. And okay, so let me get back into the I've been searching for the shirt on all Cassie stuff and couldn't find it. Yeah, I need to talk to Brad too about like potentially putting this under my store, because I feel like that would be easier, and then like I can work with Cassie to figure out how to donate proceeds from it or something, since really it's her idea, right? Went to Firefox because it works in Firefox for sure. Work in Chrome, yep, fair. Oh, you helped broker the color theme? Nice. I like that. Let's see. Thanks, Coder's Algorithm. I appreciate that. That's really that's always the hope, right? Is that people want to like play, build, and more stuff. Am I going to feature other creators? I am. That's the goal. Is if I get my way and I get to do things the way that I want to do them, what we will get out of this is there'll be the stuff that I do, but like this already is more of a Mark Texan show than it is me, right? Mark's the host, he is the face of the show, and that's what I want it to be. And I have a couple other folks who are super talented that I've been talking to about what they would do. And so the big thing that's going to be a differentiator for us is getting the support. And thank you all for jumping. I see people coming in. Y'all rule. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. But so the more we build up these supporters, the more I'm able to directly fund new projects that I might not be able to find corporate sponsors for. So that's going to be the game, right? Is figuring out how to like grow in a way that allows us to make stuff that I don't need to be able to directly sell to a sponsor, but that instead is something that, you know, we want to see as a community. And as we get that built up, that makes it easier for me to just talk to a great creator, and then we don't have to worry about like, do you have the partnership numbers? And instead we can say, do you have a great idea? And then we just put that idea out there, and we'll make, you know, we'll do shorter runs. We'll probably do like 5-6 episodes. We'll give it a shot, and if it works, we're gonna run with it. If it doesn't work, maybe we'll mess with it a little bit, maybe try something else. But you know, you got to be able to experiment. And if we're completely dependent on corporate funding, then experimentation is less. It is riskier, right? Because if you take money from a company and you run an experiment and it fails, that company then won't do it again, right? You have to be able to kind of show results, and so being able to do some viewer supported programming, we want to make stuff that you like, and obviously if you don't like it, tell us and we're going to do something different. But it's not the same as like if we, you know, land a deal with Microsoft and then we try something that nobody enjoys, and then Microsoft is like, cool, you'll never get money from us again. So that's kind of the plan. Thoughts on using the to-do tree extension of VS Code? This is the first I've ever heard of it. So let me look at extensions here. And it's called to-do tree. Is it this? I'm assuming it's this one with all the installs. So what does this do? Quickly searches your comments for to-dos and fix-me's. I do like that. Displays them in a tree in the activity bar. I really like that. Dragged out of the activity bar into the Explorer pane or anywhere else. Clicking a to-do within the tree will open the file and put the cursor on the line containing the to-do. Oh man, I should use this. This is good. Okay. Now where did it go? Showed up here. Yeah, this is cool. I need to probably configure it to ignore, because I do this in blog posts to like make all that work, but that's pretty dang slick. What was this? Oh. Yeah, I think we get to just do this now. And we can... Does that just work? That's going to be so dope if that just works. Let's go try it. So that's on our collections page. So that would be like here. And it broke. Boo. Okay. Yeah, it didn't output any of my thingies. Oh, because we need to still return it even if we're not... Okay, so that one shows as selected. So let's go to, not Web Dev Challenge, to Learn with Jason, because we've actually got seasons in this one. And we get Season 1, not selected. Season 8, selected. Slick. Cool. Would have completely forgot that that existed. So thanks, To-Do Tree. But yeah, so all right, we're already getting benefits here. Update clerk user with sanity. Update. Oh yeah, handle the Stripe webhook. So I think I already did this actually. Didn't I? Yeah. What did I... I think this is all just dead code that I'm not Oh. I think it was because this part, the signature validation thing that ingest doesn't handle yet, which they will, I hope. Oh, I think this just works now. Data raw, sig headers. Oh, and that just works. And then you can use the data to verify the signature. Okay, that's a thing we can fix real quick. That's cool. So that just works now. And if you don't know what I'm talking about here, it's basically when you get a webhook from Stripe, they give you the ability to validate that webhook signature. And that wasn't supported in ingest and now is in the last few months. I don't know when I initially set this up. But so now I'll actually be able to do this, whereas before you couldn't. Let's see. Am I accepting pitches? I mean, yes, but like, you know, in like realistically, it will be a while before I can afford to fund a new program. It's just a matter of, you know, again, we got to line up enough revenue either in profit from the existing shows, like Web Dev Challenge is actually in a position where it might be able to fund other shows because it's just going so well, or getting enough supporter stuff so that we can make that work. What college did I study at? I didn't go to college. I dropped out of college. Oh, nice. You can add your own extra stuff in the settings. That's very, very cool. I don't think my VS Code needs any more extensions either. I've been steadily ripping them out though. You can actually see my extensions. Where are my installed ones? Extensions. Can I just see my extensions? Oh, crap. I just like show extensions, but I don't want that. I just want to see the ones that are installed. Okay, so here's my installed ones. I have Copilot. I have 28 installed, which is too many, but I also actually use them all. So like Copilot, Astro, obviously, .env, so that I have syntax highlighting for the .env format. Editor config in ESLint. Even better, Toml is really useful when you're working in like a netlify.toml. The Copilot stuff I use every once in a while. The GitLens thing is really good, like if you haven't used GitLens. The GraphQL stuff, because I have some GraphQL. I could honestly probably disable these for now. So I'm not really using them right now. And then the Markdown I use all the time. Material icon theme is why I have, like they're nice for giving you those sorts of things. Monokai I don't actually use. I could probably uninstall that one. I'm always on Night Owl. I will be on Night Owl forever, and I don't know why I ever think I won't. NPM IntelliSense is really good. It gives you autocomplete for like other for like NPM packages, which is really slick. NX console, I use NX to run a lot of the Learn with JSON stuff, and that's really nice. Path IntelliSense is super dope. It will automatically complete your like local files. So as you /, it'll start auto completing that for you. Prettier is great. I use that all the time. Pretty TypeScript errors is really useful for trying to figure out what the heck TypeScript means. Gives you a little more details in the error. I use the sanity stuff all the time. The subtitles editor, because it's surprisingly complicated to edit a subtitle. Does it have a screenshot in here? I don't think it does, but anyways, it's kind of nice. I like manually create the subtitles for Web Dev Challenge and Elite Heat and stuff. And so if I need to, being able to edit those is really nice. Svelte, I use somewhat. Vue, I use somewhat. Word count is kind of just a little helper thing for me. It shows how many words a particular document is. And then Xdate I use quite a bit. So we're not being unreasonable here. Why do I need to restart? Okay, so that takes those out. And then that's what I got. So not a ton, but I am using the ones that I'm using, and this to-do tree thing is pretty dang cool. And this is to-do tree, right? This isn't like, is this to-do tree? To-do's tree. Or is this like built in and I didn't realize it? Let's, hold on, experiment time. Did they build this into VS Code? Let's disable. We'll restart. Nah, that was to-do tree. Okay, so that's a slick feature, and I really like that. So I want to keep that. Focus on to-dos view, and then I can see what I've set up in here, and that is really nice. I'll ignore the blog. I have my manual delay. These are good because sometimes I leave myself notes, like I'm going to be a better person, and I know I'm not. Yeah, collection of those. That's a whole thing I got to figure out. HTTP codes. Oh yeah, I tried to style my RSS feed and it looks like just trash, so I didn't. Oh yeah, if we're missing user details, we want to report that somehow. And then we need to actually build out the Learn with JSON schedule, which we already kind of have, but we should do more. And then we have our actual to-dos here, which is pretty dang cool. I like that it detects these. That's really nice. So this is handy. This I can see myself using this a lot. All right. Yeah, I think the college thing was hard for me because I couldn't get into, like, I didn't try very hard in high school. I was not motivated. And so I think I couldn't get into like an MIT or something like that. So instead I tried to go some like technical college. That didn't really work out. And so I dropped out after like a semester, and then I just kind of thought I was going to be a rock star and did my touring thing in the band, and that didn't really work out. And the whole time I was building websites for the band. And I just sort of accidentally learned this stuff because it was fun. Every time I built something, I was having a lot of fun doing it. So I just did more of it. And it turned out after the band broke up, I kind of built a whole agency skill set where I was doing art and poster design and web design. I was doing sales because I had to call venues and convince them to bring the band in. I was doing logistics and time management and project management because we had shows to play and we had to do merch and we had to get orders and coordinate that. I had to talk to teenagers in cities around the country and convince them to hang up posters for our shows. And it was all of a sudden I was like, dang, I think I could do this for other businesses. And that was how I got started. Is I came in running an agency for small businesses where I would help them build websites and design and all the kind of stuff that helps a local business function. and that just sort of grew from there. What's up, Ben? How you doing? I know I'm not going to be a better person. How dare you? Getting out and doing your own thing is a whole. It's really nice. I mean, okay, this is maybe worth a little aside, because I think about this a lot, and I've made the switch several times now throughout my career from being self-employed to being employed, and there are upsides and downsides. Like the trade-offs are significant in both directions, because the thing that I loved about being employed is you have a peer group that you can learn from and that you can rely on, that you can get help from, that's there to cover things. Like I went to IBM and I had a team that was like, they were really good at things that I wasn't good at, and so I was able to pick up a lot of skill just by being around them and seeing how they worked and what they were prioritizing and how they thought through problems. That kind of stuff is really hard to do when you're on your own. Like when you work alone, you don't get those sorts of I'm calling it like tacit knowledge transfer. Like tacit knowledge is this idea of, there are things that you would make a tutorial about, and then there are things that you just know because you've done it 1,000 times, and you don't really think about it anymore. You wouldn't consider writing a tutorial about it, but if somebody else who didn't know saw you do it, they might say, hey, why did you do it like that? That's tacit knowledge, and it's one of the reasons that we have apprenticeships and stuff like that. You learn things by watching somebody be good at them, and that's where nuanced skill comes in, and where style and taste and true expertise, the sort of unconscious mastery that people have, where they can, you sit down at a piano and you just play. Nobody's thinking about the keys or the notes. They just know what feels right. That is really difficult to teach. You can't academically teach that. You can't go read tutorials and figure that stuff out. And there's no faster way to do that than to be in a room with somebody who's good at something and just watching them work. You'll learn a lot. And that's actually a big motivation behind what I'm doing with CodeTV is I want to expand tacit knowledge transfer into something that we get by watching experienced devs work. That was a big goal with Learn with Jason, with the 90 minutes of pair programming, is like, you can see how me and another dev work through a problem or get ourselves unstuck or whatever those things are. Those are things that are really hard to, what would you even Google for to say, like, how does a experienced dev get out of a problem when they're trying to do a thing and then the thing doesn't work, and then, you know what I mean? Like, how do you even find that kind of information? The only way you can get it is really by watching somebody else do that sort of work and the incidental things that come up along the way. Web Dev Challenge is a similar idea. I want to see people work through problems for real. I don't necessarily want the tutorial version where they've already worked through the problems and then step back and then they do it in perfect steps by sort of jumping to the next correct step each time. And so that tacit knowledge transfer is a big thing for going into an employee situation. And then there's also the lack of stress. And there are a lot of reasons to be stressed in an employed situation, and I don't want to imply that there is no stress. The trade-off, though, is that when you're self-employed, every problem is your problem, and you don't get to say, I'll deal with that tomorrow if the website is down. You don't get to say, somebody's on pager duty, they'll handle that if your payment system breaks. If you're out at dinner and you find out that you pushed something before you left that like took down the payment system, you can either not make any money until you go back and fix that, or you can leave dinner and go deal with the problem you created, right? And that sort of stuff is really difficult because you have to be able to set boundaries, and as a self-employed person, the willingness to let things suck sometimes is really hard. My perfectionism does not like it. but I have to ship stuff that doesn't quite work. You know, I took CodeTV live with bugs, knowing that there were bugs, because I knew if I waited until I got it perfect, it was never going to ship. Because there's, you know, the way to find problems is to let somebody else use them, so you just have to be bad at things sometimes, and you learn by getting feedback that you broke something or that it didn't work. And so that's a big trade-off of, you know, you just don't get to turn off really. Like I'll be at 9 o'clock at night and I'm not working, but I'm still kind of thinking about stuff, and I'm still, you know, maybe I'm like sending an email or like chatting with somebody in DMs about an idea or whatever. And it's all like, it's all fun. I like all of it, but it is also work. Like I am working all of the time. Um, I consider it to be a sustainable way because I don't feel like I'm sacrificing the rest of my life for it. And like I can still, you know, go to dinner and like leave my phone off or in my pocket, or I can, you know, I can take a day to, I don't know, like we do things like Marissa and I will go have an adventure somewhere where we like drive to a different part of town and go antiquing or whatever, and I don't have to be on my phone for that. So it's not like it takes over your life in that sense, but it's like this low level hum in the back of your brain, like, okay, I'm running the business. Is the business growing? Am I doing the right things? Are there things I could do better? How's this project doing? What's going on with that project? And oh, I should follow up with that person. Oh, I need to check on that invoice thing. Whatever it is always sort of like humming in the back of your brain. And that's something that, for example, when I was at IBM, I used to just leave my computer in the office and go home at 4:50 and not think about it. You know, I'd leave somewhere between 4 and 5 p.m. on Friday, and I would come back at 9 o'clock on Monday morning, and my computer was sitting on my desk, and I didn't look at Slack. They didn't even have my phone number. Like there was no way to get a hold of me. And my team didn't work on anything critical enough to need pager duty. So we just didn't do it, right? Like we were just gone. When we were done, we were done. And, you know, my manager, if there was a real emergency, could call me. But I worked there for 2 years and they never did. I got to be done. I worked 9 to 5, 9:15 to 4:45, and that was it. They didn't get extra time. I didn't think about it. I didn't worry. There were enough people. Our team had it. It was just a job. Startups blur that line a little bit. Like I was like mostly off when I was off, but you know, you're still kind of on because like, you know, stuff isn't organized enough or whatever. People need you. You don't want to block your teammate who's in Europe or whatever and have them lose a full day because you didn't unblock the thing. But it's still, I don't know. It's a whole thing, right? But I think, later, Ryan, good to see you. But I do think like that's the challenge is, let's not do that, bud. We don't comment on people's bodies, please. Like it's just not the point in this one. Let's see. Health insurance is tough, but health insurance is manageable, right? Like if you are going to be independent, then the revenue situation needs to account for all of that. Like before I had left Netlify, I ran the math on what does health insurance cost every month for me and my wife? What do I need to be putting aside for like emergency savings, and how much does we ran a full budget of everything that we were spending, and I contacted a handful of people about like, because I needed professional insurance, like contractors insurance, so that you can get like a gig with somebody like Oracle. You have to be able to prove that you have $1 million in professional liability insurance, things like that. So I got that. I did the health insurance. I figured out all those things, and it's not cheap, like by any stretch, but it's not out of the question. So I worked out the budget and figured out what I needed to make. And I think part of it too is like, I don't mind sales, and I'm not afraid of talking about money. And I think about that a little bit with like, I know that some folks who do YouTube and stuff, they have this weird like shame relationship with sponsorship where they won't talk about it. or they try to make it seem like it's not really happening when it's obviously happening. And to me, I've kind of always thought of that as like, that's part of the fun, is like, how do we take a thing that a company is making and make it into part of the story in a fun way so that they want to fund the production of the thing. Like, I want to make Web Dev Challenge. I can't afford to make Web Dev Challenge on my own. Companies can absolutely afford to make Web Dev Challenge. So why not team up and be stoked about that partnership instead of making it feel like a dirty secret that, oh no, I took money from somebody so that I can pay my bills. Like, that's what jobs are, y'all. Right. And because I think I'm not skittish about that, and because I enjoy the sales part, I like the business part, and thinking about how marketing and all these things work. How do we tie the thing we're doing to value? And can we, are there metrics we can use? Are there proof points that we can use that say like, hey, this actually did make a difference. Like the choices you made led to better outcomes. That is fun for me. And so it makes it easier for me to have those conversations. And I think it's led to me being able to charge more, because I do talk through that stuff, and I'll run through it with a company and think about the strategy and how can you reuse this 5 or 6 different ways so that each dollar you spend is being spent multiple times. That I think is a really another thing to consider if you're going to go independent, is a lot of your life is going to be sales. It's a significant amount of my time to talk to potential customers, run ideas past people, just do a lot of exploration calls, putting together pitches, writing an email that's like, hey, here's a cool way we could work together. What do you think? Most of the time people just ghost me. Like I send an email to somebody, and like, I'm cold emailing. I don't expect that. I'm not offended that they ghost me, but like, I send an email to somebody that I've never met, and I'm like, hey, you work on something cool. I'm working on something that I think is cool, and I think it would work for us to do this thing together. And a lot of times I just never hear back from them, but often enough they want to talk, and then we kind of get thinking through how things could work, and it turns into something, and that's how I pay my bills now. I don't love how much of my life is admin and meetings and stuff, but I also don't know that I could do the things that I do if I wasn't the one doing the admin and the meetings and the pitching. And so I think that it's, to me at least, I found the balance where I'm doing all things that I enjoy, and as a self-employed person, I don't know that I can make that balance work as an employed person, if that makes sense. So right now, the trade-offs, the things that make being self-employed hard, don't outweigh the trade-offs of being employed, like the lack of complete agency. If I think something is a good idea, right now I can just bet the farm on it. Like, if I decide that I want to make Leet Heat, I can just pull the ripcord and do it, right? I'm like, okay, we're gonna make Leet Heat. We're gonna do a 10 episode run. We're gonna film it across 2 days. It's gonna cost this much money. I need to make these many sponsors, or else we lose money. But I have enough kind of saved up that if I don't hit my sponsorship target, I can still do the show. And that's what ended up happening, is we didn't quite hit the sponsorship target. So I paid out of pocket to make Leet Heat, but I can make that risk because I believe that once it goes live and once people see it, they're going to like it enough that we'll be able to do season 2, and season 2 will be profitable, right? Because season 2, I can wait until it's funded before I do the show. And that sort of, I did the same thing with Web Dev Challenge. The first Web Dev Challenge, the price that I gave to DataStax was less than it cost me to make the show. But DataStax made it safe enough that I could take that risk, and I could pay the extra out of pocket, and not, the business wasn't going to fail if I was wrong. But I was right, and I knew I was right. Like, this is kind of the thing, is like, I have been saying this stuff for a long time, and in the meetings that I would have at Netlify and at Gatsby and with companies I was talking to about sponsorship after that, I would say this is what is happening, and this is where we need to go, and like, I know this is going to work. You just got to trust me. And they couldn't, because I couldn't give them proof, and proof is really important when you're about to hand somebody a check for 5 or 6 figures. So I just had to prove it myself. And then I could point to proof. I can say, look what the show is doing. And companies go, oh yeah, I want that. And then it's easy for them because they have proof to write that check for 5 figures. And so that to me is I don't think I would have been able to do the stuff that I'm doing now if I had been doing it at a company, unless that company was willing to give me a discriminatory spending cap that was pretty high and say, we trust you implicitly. You can do this. And at the end of the year, we're going to measure results. And if we didn't get results we want, then we'll reassess whether or not you get to do this anymore. And right now, I think maybe if I'd tried this 3 years ago or what it now, like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, in the like when everything was free and there was no interest in it, you know, all that stuff, I probably could have maybe gotten away with some really interesting stuff and tried some incredible things. But that's not the reality now. Companies don't have unlimited discretionary funding and you know, giant budgets with no oversight. Instead, you got to be able to prove that the metrics are moving in the direction they want, and you can't. I haven't been able to get companies to take those kinds of risks. I have to take the risk and then show them what I did, and then they'll do it because it doesn't feel risky anymore. And that's a game. That's the game that you get to play. Later, Michael. Good to see you. JetBrains versus VS Code. That's a good question. JetBrains is great. Like, I think that the JetBrains editor is really good. I have it installed, in fact. Or I guess I have WebStorm installed. And I think WebStorm is really good. So my experience of using all of these, and like, let me see if I can get, the last time I used this, it was for some Leet Heat questions. But like, if we get into one of these, there we go. So you get into one of these, and like, these will have, how do I get you to be, I messed with all the settings on this. Yeah, so check this out. So they do really cool stuff in here where like they will tell you what the return types are, and they will tell you kind of what the types of things are, even if you're not explicitly typing it. And this can be a little disconcerting right out off the jump, because you don't necessarily, like, this isn't in my code, right? My code is this, like this set of brackets, this here. But wait, what did I just do? There we go. And so like, from a adjustment period standpoint, this can be a little disconcerting, but it's really dang cool that I don't need to like type everything. I just get this information so that I can try this out. And it's smart enough to know in, I think this one, does it know in GraphQL? Yeah, so this one knows that like I don't have these aren't defined. So it says unknown field, you know, there's no parent selection, and these like unknown type. So it's smart enough to know that like I haven't actually defined this schema anywhere. And that's without me telling it that it's GraphQL. It just kind of identifies that and looks around. And so this is all really good. Like, this is a very good editor. And they have this non-commercial use thing. I got a whole thing on this, actually. Let me send everybody this link, because JetBrains sponsored the first episode of Leet Heat, in fact, which is something really cool. So let me throw a link on here. This will give you WebStorm with a non-commercial free license. Oh, speaking of Leet Heat, what's up, Shruti? How you doing? And that is an editor that you can use as long as you're not using it for work. You don't have to pay. If you decide to use it for work, the licensing would probably go through work, right? So basically, as long as you're using it for side projects and stuff, you can give it a shot and try it out. It's really good. You should, if you've never tried it, it's worth a shot. It's very good. It is, you know, like VS Code is also very good. So I guess to answer your question, I don't have a preference. I just have a default, and my default is that all my shortcuts are hooked up to VS Code. So that's sort of where I live now, but it's not for any strong reasons. The go and prove it myself mentality. Yeah, I think I don't know. We've only got a couple minutes left before I got to wrap this up, but I think something that's been a big differentiator for me in my life has been a a willingness to run risk analysis and just try stuff. Like I believe very much that you can do you can just do stuff, right? Like you don't need permission, you don't need buy-in, you don't need somebody to tell you it's okay. You can just do stuff. And the people who seem to get the furthest are the people who, they like, you got to think through it. You got to make sure it's something that you really want to do and that it's the sort of thing that you can commit to following through on, even if you don't get outside encouragement or support. But like picking a project and just doing it, not waiting for anybody to sign off or encourage you, and then coming back and showing everybody what you did and saying, this is good, right? Like, not like, do you think this is good, but like, look what I made, I'm proud of this. I feel like that willingness to just try stuff and to give myself permission to be interested in something, whether or not anybody else understood what I was doing. I do think that's been a large contributor to my overall success. So yeah, I think I hope more people do it, right? Because again, there are no rules, right? You get to do whatever you believe you are allowed to do, and the end of the day, like, as long as you're not in violating actual laws, like, society has to function, so we can't just rob banks or whatever. But as long as you're doing stuff that doesn't harm other people, you can kind of do whatever you want. Like, you just try it. What's the worst that can happen? In most cases, if you run through the risk analysis, the worst that's going to happen is you have to tell somebody that it didn't work. With at least with the kinds of projects we're talking about, right? Like, if I go risk a few grand on a new idea, I'm doing it because I know that if I lose a few grand, I don't lose my house. I don't lose I'm not going to miss a health insurance payment. It's money that I've saved up so that I can take that risk. And a lot of times you can take a risk without having to put money on the line. It's just time, or your sense of perfectionism, or your I don't know. I think a lot of people look at, like, if I try something and it doesn't work on the first try, then clearly I am a failure and I am incapable of doing good things. You got to let go of that and just trust yourself to, like, the only real way to fail is to not try at all, because failure is an ending. Failure is it's to cease. Like, you hit an end and there is no continuation. But, like, that's not how anything works except death, right? Like, if you try something and it doesn't work, you just use that information to then do something differently, whether it's an adjusted version of the first plan where you say, oh, well, I see why that didn't work, I'm going to tweak it like this and try again. Or it's, that didn't work and I didn't enjoy that, so now I know not to do that. Right? Like, there are many things where I thought I was going to enjoy it a lot. I tried it and it was awful and I never want to do it again. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't tried. And so I don't consider it a failure that I tried that thing and it didn't work out. I consider it a information. It's a thing I learned that allows me to make better decisions in the future. So is it a project that failed? Sure. But, like, am I a failure? Is it a fail? Was that time failed time? No, because it allowed me to narrow the viable options and eliminate things that I was curious about that it turns out I didn't want to do, right? Like, being, having certain jobs, doing different hobbies, doing whatever the thing is, you'll try it and you'll realize that's not for me, right? Like, I've done sales and I learned very quickly that, like, straight sales is not for me. I don't want that job. But I do like certain things about sales. And so the skill that I picked up by learning sales has transferred into the areas of my life where I do think it helps me to be able to make a sales pitch. And so, like, I didn't fail as a salesperson. I learned that that particular role is not for me. But I still picked up skills, right? So, anyways, I don't know. I'm kind of getting off onto a rant, but I do hope that, I don't know. That's I'm gonna end up getting that tattooed on me at some point. But you can just do stuff. You can just try stuff. Anything that you can imagine, think it through, de-risk it, make a plan, and control what you can about the outcome, and then just try it. Scope it down to something that you can reasonably afford to be wrong on, and then just do it. And if you're right, double down, do it again. Right? That was Web Dev Challenge. It started as a completely remote thing, and I knew it would be better if we were in person, but I couldn't afford to bring everybody in person, so I did what I could. I did it remotely, and then once we proved that worked, I was able to get a company like DataStax to take a risk on trying it in person, and they weren't willing to go all the way in, but they were willing to go far enough in that I could afford the risk, and so I paid the extra to try it. And now today, Web Dev Challenge is basically funding my entire lifestyle. It's the reason that all of this stuff is possible, because I knew it was the right thing to do. I just had to prove it to other people. And so I would scope it down, de-risk it, just try stuff. And 10 episodes later, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're going, and going into season 2, trying more stuff. Like, there's more I want to do. And I'm shooting for much further than where we are right now, but it'll take time. And I just have to keep doing what I can do, what I can reasonably afford to risk now, to keep proving what is possible if we go further. We get, if a company decides to give me a 6-figure check, what can I do, right? And it's a lot. But right now, the appetite for that risk isn't there. But I can go further. I can get more done, and I can show more, and then that will turn into, it doesn't really feel that risky. It feels like a no-brainer, right? And that's the plan, is to just keep pushing until this feels like a very natural thing. It's an obvious choice for a company to do this thing and to take this chance. Anyways, I think that's all we got time for today. Where are we at? Oh, we're overtime. I'm just rambling away. Anyways, so we'll call it there. But thank you all so much for being part of this. I'm super excited to have CodeTV out in the world. Again, if you are enjoying this content, there is now on the homepage of the site the ability to become a supporter. I'm going to throw a link up in here. But there we go. If you wanna throw a little money toward allowing us to make all the stuff that we want to make, every single dollar that I get through these support memberships is going to be reinvested into making more of the show. So please do consider kicking in. But yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah, do what makes you happy. Do cool stuff. I fail, therefore I am. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, y'all. Thank you all so much. Listen to Shruti. Thanks, Shruti. And thank you all for watching. We will see you on Thursday. Is it not? I think I don't have an episode this Thursday. We don't have an episode this Thursday. It's going to be next Thursday. I'm going to get back on a regular cadence with Learn with Jason. If there's somebody you want to see on the show or something you want to learn, please do let me know in the Discord, because I am actively booking right now, and we can put together some interesting stuff. So yeah, get into the Discord. Let me know what you want to see, and we'll see you next time. Later, y'all.